future with me. It's a mystery what awaits. Oh, it's a miracle life, it's a miracle day. It's a miracle day. You say it's all my fault, I walked away from it all those memories haunting our fall. A single life has come at the right time. I gave you a chance to treat me right. I'm a blank canvas you can paint. Draw yourself a future with me. It's a mystery what awaits. Oh, it's a miracle life, it's a miracle day. It's a miracle life, it's a miracle day. I see my feelings so true, but am I blinded by you? By you. Made it all the way through, but am I blinded by you? By you.
Hello, all my lovely people tonight. How are you? Yeah, so we're gonna do Bible reading tonight instead of in the morning because I figured more people might be able to get on here and actually talk and, you know, have a discussion. Last time we read, I don't even remember, Leviticus 20 and 21? My brain is just like, meh. And those were about, what did we learn about? Like rules for the priest, yeah. And before that, oh yeah, all the punishment for sins. So if you do anything against God, there are certain punishments for things. Most of them most of them are death or being cut off from your people and having to like live outside the camp or away from, the people that you're used to living with in that tribe. So it's kind of like it's either death or banishment. But I guess that's all they really had to like. They didn't have like jails and things, I guess, back then. I guess when you're in a little tribe like that and you are moving around a lot, you wouldn't have any place to just hold people if they did something wrong. So I guess for them, just getting rid of everyone was easier than dealing with criminals that they didn't know how to deal with. But yeah, that's scary though, because even like the smallest infraction in your life could end because that was the punishment they pretty much had for everything back then. So I'm going to be reading 22 and 23. Hi, Kevin. How are you? And yeah, so we're going to read the next part of Leviticus, and I think not 22, but 22 and 23. 22 is short, but 23 I think is a little bit longer, so. But it's mostly about all the festivals and stuff that they have to like celebrate to like remember God and to remember certain things in there that time period. So hopefully people can hear me. I feel like my throat is like closing up or something right now. It's not great. So we're reading Leviticus 22 and 23, and I am reading from the NIV if you guys want to follow along. And feel free to put comments in the comment section if you want to talk about anything. I was hoping doing this on a Friday night there would be more people that could, pop in and say hi and actually like discuss some of the Bible stuff. Because I know during the day it's a lot harder because people are working and, they don't always have that time to just pop onto Twitch or YouTube and watch those things. And I know you can like go back and watch, replays and stuff, but it's not the same. Okay. I'm a bit behind on my Bible studies. Well, my Bible studies are different because it's from an atheist perspective, so. I guess it's kind of both because I grew up Christian, so I like know that perspective, but at the same time, now that I'm an atheist, I can see it from both sides now. So that makes it a little bit different with the Bible studies because I can see it like how Christians would say it was versus, as an atheist now I can say, oh, well, a lot of this stuff was, not things that we have in history and things like that, but it all depends on your perspective. So, yeah. So 22 is going to start in the middle of the rules for the priests where we left off. So we get to learn more about those different rules. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons to treat with respect the sacrifice offerings the Israelites consecrate to me, so they will not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, for the generations to come, if any of your descendants is ceremonially unclean, and yet comes near the sacred offerings that the Israelites consecrate to the Lord, that person must be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. If a descendant of Aaron has a defiling skin disease or a bodily discharge, he may not eat the sacred offerings until he is cleansed. He will also be unclean if he touches something defiled by a corpse, or by anyone who has an emission of semen, or if he touches any crawling thing that makes him unclean, or any person who makes him unclean. Whatever the uncleanliness may be, the one who touches any such thing will be unclean till evening. He must not eat of any of the sacred offerings unless he has bathed himself in water. When the sun goes down, he will be clean, and after that he may eat the sacred offering, for they are his food. He must not eat anything found dead, or torn by wild animals, or so become unclean through it. I am the Lord. The priests are to perform my service in such a way that they do not become guilty and die for treating it with contempt. I am the Lord who makes them holy. No one outside of a priest's family may eat the sacred offering, nor may the guest of a priest or his hired worker eat it. But if a priest buys a slave with money, or if the slaves are born in his household, he may eat his food. If a priest's daughter marries anyone other than a priest, she may not eat any of the sacred contributions. But if a priest's daughter becomes a widow or is divorced, yet has no children, and she returns to live in the father's household, as in her youth, she may eat of her father's food. No unauthorized person, however, may eat any of it. Anyone who eats a sacred offering by mistake must make restitution to the priests for the offering and add a fifth of the value to it. The priest must not desecrate the sacred offerings the Israelites present to the Lord by allowing them to eat the sacred offerings, and so bring upon them the guilt requiring payment. I am the Lord who makes them holy. Unacceptable sacrifices. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites, and say to them, if any of you, whether an Israelite or a foreigner resides in Israel, present a gift for a burnt offering to the Lord, either to fulfill a vow or as a freewill offering, you must present a male without defect from the cattle, sheep, or goats, in order that it may be blah, blah, blah. You think I could read? Accepted on your behalf. Do not bring anything with a defect, because it will not be accepted on your behalf. When anyone brings from the herd or flock a fellowship offering to the Lord to fulfill a special vow, or as a free will offering, it must be without defect or blemish to be acceptable. Do not offer to the Lord the blind, the injured, or the maimed, or anything with warts, or festering, or running sores. Do not place any of these on the altar as a food offering presented to the Lord. You may, however, present a free will offering, an ox or a sheep that is deformed or stunted, but it will not be accepted in a fulfillment of a vow. You must not offer to the Lord any animal whose testicles are bruised, crushed, torn, or cut. Tons of mice. Hey. I got my, I don't even know. You just make me laugh. I like watching all of your stuff when you talk on the side, because it makes me laugh. You must not do this in your own land, and you must not accept such animals from the hand of a foreigner, or offer them as food of your God. They will not be accepted on your behalf, because they are deformed and have defects. The Lord said to Moses, when a calf, lamb, or a goat is born, it is to remain with its mother for 7 days. From the 8th day on, it will be acceptable as food offering presented to the Lord. Do not slaughter a cow or a sheep or its young on the same day. When you sacrifice a thank offering to the Lord, sacrifice it in a way that will be acceptable on your behalf. It must be eaten the same day. Leave none of it till morning. I am the Lord. Tongue twisters, yeah. Some of the words, they're so close together, like when you say them, it's really hard to say them quickly, and I know that sometimes I can get to reading really fast, and I do get tongue-tied when I actually talk about that kind of stuff. What kind of wine goes with deformed sheep? I don't know. I'm not really a big wine drinker, so I don't know. Now I'm like thinking, and I don't know, because I'm not a wine drinker. Keep my commands and follow them. I am the Lord. Do not profane my holy name, for I must be acknowledged as holy by the Israelites. I am the Lord who made you holy, and who brought you out of Egypt, and to be your God. I am the Lord. Now we get to learn about all the fun festivals and things that they have to do. It's always interesting to me about the sacrifices, how it kind of goes back to like what we learned last time about, you're not allowed to have any defect to even go into like the holiest parts of the temple. And if you did, you weren't allowed in the temple. But that kind of goes with the whole sacrifice thing, too, because it says, like, they don't want sacrifices that are the same way, so, like, everything has to be, you pretty much have to be a perfect human, and you have to be a perfect animal in order to be, well, I guess the animal's sacrifice, but, I mean, the people they can't get close to God because they have a crippled hand or something. Which is ridiculous, because that's something people can't. Like, there's no way you can change that. There are things that happen in people's lives that, you can't go back and change if it was an accident or if you were born with it. I think that just, it kind of shows what kind of God that was, where he expected perfection. Which is just gross and terrible, and so many bad things about that in my mind. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, 'These are my appointed festivals, the appointed festivals of the Lord, which you are to proclaim as a sacred assembly.'" Sorry. Mic issues. Okay. The Sabbath. There are 6 days when you may work, but on the 7th day is the day of the Sabbath rest, a day of sacred assembly. You are not to do any work. Wherever you live, it is a Sabbath to the Lord. The Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. These are the Lord's appointed festivals, the sacred assemblies you are to proclaim at the appointed times. The Lord's Passover begins at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. On the 15th day of the month, the Lord's festival of unleavened bread begins. For 7 days you must eat bread made without yeast. On the first day hold a sacred assembly, and do not regular work. For 7 days present a food offering to the Lord, and on the 7th day hold a sacred assembly, and do no regular work. It's always weird, too, that, like, God wanted not just, burnt sacrifices. Happy inventory day. Awesome. But, he also wanted, like, food offerings and stuff. And then, like, the wave offerings. It's just, there's so many different offerings, and it's just odd to me, like, because I know, like, with the burnt offerings, it says it's, like, a sweet aroma to God, like, so God likes the smell of burning flesh, but when it comes to, like, food offerings, it's, like, God's not going to eat those offerings. And some of those food offerings just went to the priests anyway, so I don't know what the point of the food offerings to God was, though. Because I feel like it would just sit there and rot and they would just have to throw it away anyway, so who knows? Offering the first fruits. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land I'm going to give you and you reap its harvest, bring the priest a sheaf of the first grain you harvest. He is to wave the sheaf before the Lord, so it will be acceptable on your behalf. The priest is to wave it on the day after the Sabbath. On the day you wave the sheaf, you must sacrifice a burnt offering to the Lord, a lamb a year old without defect, together with its grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of the finest flour mixed with olive oil, a food offering presented to the Lord, a pleasing aroma, and its drink offering, a quart of hin of wine. You must not eat any bread or roast or new grain until the very day that you bring the offering to your God. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live." Arby's. I like Arby's. I think it's yummy. We had an Arby's. Okay, side story here. When I was in high school, we had an Arby's. Like, pretty much like right next to my high school. So my senior year, we all had this, like, you had the ability to go off campus for lunch if you wanted to. And we were, like, super lucky because there was an Arby's and a KFC right, like, outside the parking lot where we went to school. So I used to go to Arby's a lot when I was a senior in high school. And I would always get those coupons in the mail, and I would take them to Arby's and get lunch. The Festival of Weeks. From the day after the Sabbath, the day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, count off 7 full weeks. Count off 50 days up to the day after the 7th Sabbath, and then present an offering of new grain to the Lord. This is a lot of just work to count all these days and figure out exactly when God wanted these certain things to be done. From wherever you live, bring 2 loaves made of 2/10 of an ephah of the finest flour. Bake with yeast as a wave offering of the first fruits to the Lord. Present this with the bread, 7 male lambs, each a year old and without defect, 1 young bull, and 2 rams. They will be burnt offerings to the Lord, together with the grain offering and the drink offering, a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Then sacrifice 1 male goat for the sin offering, and 2 lambs, each a year old, for a fellowship offering. The priest is to wave the 2 lambs before the Lord as a wave offering together with the bread of the first fruits. They are a sacred offering to the Lord for the priests. On the same day you are to proclaim a sacred assembly and do no regular work. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live. When you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap the very edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner who resides among you. I am the Lord your God. The Festival of Trumpets. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, on the first day of the 7th month, you are to have a day of Sabbath rest, a sacred assembly commemorated with trumpet blasts. Do no regular work, but present a food offering to the Lord." I wonder if those trumpet blasts, like, blasted all day. Chickens. Aren't chickens, like, the closest things to dinosaurs? And a lot of Christians don't believe dinosaurs existed, so... I guess that would that make them, like, God's enemy? God's enemy are chickens because they came from dinosaurs. Which would prove that God doesn't exist? I don't know. There you go. Exactly. We found the answer. Satan's really a chicken. That's all it is. That would be so funny. The Day of Atonement. The Lord said to Moses, "The 10th day of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement. Hold a sacred assembly and deny yourselves, and present a food offering to the Lord. Do not do any work on the day, because it is the Day of Atonement, when atonement is made for you before the Lord your God. Those who do not deny themselves on the day must be cut off from their people. I will destroy from among their people anyone who does work on that day. You shall do no work at all. This is to be a lasting ordinance for generations to come, wherever you live. It is a day of Sabbath rest for you, and you must deny yourselves. From evening of the 9th day of the month until the following evening, you are to observe your Sabbath. No atonement for you. No work. This is something I can get on board with. Like, we're gonna just have normal times of not having work, and we can just have days off to do whatever we want. I guess it's not exactly what they did, because those days were supposed to be for, like, God festivals, but I mean, we kind of have that now with holidays. At least in America, we have, like, certain holidays where we have the day off. But I don't have to go worship a god on those days. Like, I can do whatever I want. I can sleep in if I want. Like, those are the nice days when I can just lay around and be lazy. The Festival of Tabernacles. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, on the 15th day of the 7th month, the Lord's Festival of the Tabernacles begins. It lasts for 7 days. The first day is a sacred assembly. Do no regular work. For 7 days present food offerings to the Lord, and on the 8th day hold a sacred assembly, and present a food offering to the Lord. It is the closing special assembly. Do no regular work. These are the Lord's appointed festivals, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies for bringing food offerings to the Lord. The burnt offerings and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings required for each day. These offerings are in addition to those for the Lord's Sabbath, and in addition to your gifts and whatever you have vowed, and to all the freewill offerings you give to the Lord. So beginning with the 15th day of the 7th month, after you have gathered the crops of the land, celebrate the festival to the Lord for 7 days. On the first day is a day of Sabbath rest, and the 8th day is also a day of Sabbath rest. On the first day you are to take branches from luxuriate trees. I have no idea what that is. From palms, willows, and other leafy trees, and rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. Celebrate this as a festival to the Lord for 7 days each year. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. Celebrate it in the 7th month. Live in temporary shelters for 7 days. All native-born Israelites are to live in such shelters, so that your descendants will know that I had the Israelites live in temporary shelters when I brought them out of Egypt. I am the Lord." So Moses announced to the Israelites the appointed festivals of the Lord. That's so weird. Temporary shelters, like, you have to go live in tents to remember your ancestors and what they did and how God brought them out of Egypt. I don't feel like living in a tent would really make me, I don't know, celebrate that kind of stuff. I would just be miserable and be like, seriously, why are we doing this? But that's really weird to me. Now it's gonna just go through my head with, like, oh, they have to live in tents, and they have to, present food offerings, and on certain days they have to do this, and I don't know, it's just odd. Those are things I can't wrap my head around sometimes, because, when you think about it, like when I was in the church, I didn't really think about that kind of stuff where it was like, oh, God demanded that they do these certain things. But now that you like look into it and you really like dive into it and think about it, it's like, why would you do that? I guess nowadays, like, we go camping, but, we have a lot better amenities that we could go camping with if we really wanted to. You don't have to go camping in a tent. You can rent a cabin or go in an RV. So I guess we're kind of spoiled in that way that, we can do what we want. And if we don't want to go camping, we don't have to go camping. The offerings thing is always weird to me too. I need to like look into like what the purpose of a wave offering is, because I've heard that several times now in the Bible and I have no idea like why they did that and why that was important. I guess I just need to like dive deeper into some of those things, because those are things like they never talked about in church. When I was growing up, we always talked about just like the burnt offerings as like the sacrifices, because they always linked it back to Jesus, and Jesus being the final offering, because they were always offering animals, but animals could never completely take away your sin, because I don't know, because they're animals and we're people. And I guess it was just making that distinction between, we're people, which makes us special to God. So because we're special, then there has to be a human sacrifice, because we're better and more superior than animals. But they didn't really talk about a lot of that, like the wave offering and the food offering and things like that. That's not things that they really dug into. Tasty. So those are definitely things that I will have to look into more to just figure out like what the purpose of those were. And I guess it wouldn't be a big deal too. I lost my train of thought. Oh, it wouldn't be a big deal to Christians about the different offerings, because they believe that the one and only offering was Jesus. And so they were very focused on, the burnt offering and the burnt sacrifice. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I feel like my brain is just like mush right now. I don't know why. I'm normally much better about talking and stuff, but maybe because it's getting later than I thought. Yeah, thanks you all for coming and reading Leviticus. Oh my goodness. Yep. You have to have humans to have a god, apparently. I guess that's true, because we don't see animals really worshipping other things. I mean, they might be, but I don't know. There's always that, Christians will always make that distinction. Hi, awoken one. They'll always make that distinction that we are special because we're human. And they will never, say that we're animals or whatever, because that completely disregards their faith and what they believe, because they think that we're above animals, even though we are technically animals still. So, yeah. I don't have much to say about today's reading other than that. Maybe I'll dig deeper on a different day. I'm just ready to be done with Leviticus, because it feels repetitive and not necessary. But I get it for, like, them wanting to keep their traditions and stuff. It was important for them to maybe write those things down, but when it comes to reading it, it just feels so drawn out and long and tiring. And so, but we did what, to 23 today, so we'll be done with it soon because there's only 27. But then we have numbers, and I don't know what exactly is in numbers, so we'll have to see what happens when we get into numbers too. Yeah. Thank you all for coming tonight and for watching me. Sorry I haven't been as entertaining as I normally am. I think I'm just getting tired. It's been a long week. Thank you to my patrons. You guys are awesome. If you guys want to be a patron and support me, I have a Patreon. Overprotected Atheist on Patreon. You can find me at OP _atheist on Twitter. You can find me Facebook Overprotected Atheist, Twitch Overprotected Atheist, YouTube Overprotected Atheist, and Instagram Overprotected Atheist. My brain, it's shutting down. Yeah. I don't know when I'm going to do my next reading. I've been doing them Monday through Fridays, but I might start doing some on the weekends too, because I feel like I'm going to get... I need to come on Tang tomorrow. We'll see. Discord and YouTube, yeah. I like Tang. I watch a lot of their stuff. They're pretty cool people. I was on one of his shows. That was fun. That's where I met Tobin and Jaded Atheist. Two people that I really like. So, yeah. Thank you all for coming. I might be on tomorrow, or I might go check out Tang's thing. You know, if you guys want to, you can check out Tang's thing. Great show. Oh, thank you. Normally I'm more animated than this, but it's Friday night and I'm tired. Oh god, no thank you. So, but I gotta go. I got kiddos to get in bed, so have a good night, everyone, and hopefully I see some of you if I get on tomorrow. Bye.